All right, so I am here with Go Outside. We got at the far end Marcus, Craig, Nick, and Kevrai, Miss and Ricky. But here we are. This is the 22nd episode of On That Note, and I totally did not just look that up right before we started to remember what number we were on. But where I wanted to start with is you guys just released a single called Power Pop, and you guys are going to be putting it out as part of an EP a little bit later. But one of the lyrics that interested me the most in that song, and because I listened to it and I asked you guys some questions about it for a print interview a while ago, but I did not hear this lyric last time I listened to it, which was, art or God, you can choose, but you can't have both. And that seems like a very specific lyric, like if you've ever seen those memes where it's like, seems like really specific to you. So I'm curious, where did that come from? What was the story behind that, and why did you feel the need to put it in the song?
Mark. Not the time to be shy.
So I went to college, and I got really into art, and then I graduated from college, and then in retrospect, I saw that there was no God at all during the time that I was in college, in my life. It didn't pertain to me. And I kind of see that a lot. You know, it's something that I've kind of gotten into religion and stuff, thinking about God a lot, because I think it's important. I'm interested in big things. And it's almost like there's this division between art and God. That's basically what I was trying to get at. Art or God, you can choose, but you can't have both. Maybe it's not true, but it's at least it's like a concrete statement that maybe you'll try and get people to think about it. You know, you don't have to agree with it. I'm just saying it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. I was gonna say maybe there should be a division. Sorry, Kanye. Maybe art students are just so vague.
What you think, Nick? So to open that up to the group, then, and I think that's an interesting concept because it's something that I see in music where there's things that are concrete statements, like you said, but they're not necessarily true or false, but they're true enough to be interesting, I guess would be the way to put it. And so where do you guys sit on that as fellow musicians? Like, in what aspect do you think there should be truthfulness in your art or in your music? And in what aspect is it more important to be either interesting or provocative?
I think it's got to be, like, I don't think it's either or. I think it's got to be, like, I think people flock to the type of, like, artists and musicians that have, like, vulnerabilities and have, like, real, like, character and real things about them. So there's sort of, like, a presence that exists, but it's not, like, they're not just creating it. Like, some people just make it up and that's their whole thing and it's just a total image. But a lot of people I think if their image comes from them, that's who they are, and they really, like, put themselves through that kind of funnel, I guess.
Yeah, I think even if you have an element of, like, fabrication to it or fiction to it, you're still drawing from your own, like, real life experience. And
much better said.
So there'll always, at least there should be an element of truthfulness, or you should be able to believe whatever story you're putting out.
Yeah, anything you wanted to add to that, Cameron?
Keep it genuine. I think people are really into that.
What do you think that white cat over there thinks?
Not genuine.
That's that cat is the leader of a pack of cats that roam this neighborhood. So I'm not sure what his MO or her MO is, but she's around.
Girl gang.
Yeah. So great, love that. And then in addition to that, that riff that starts off that song is just killer. And I think the production on that song is really, really good. And I was curious, where did that riff come from? I'm always curious about songs, like what was the first seed that kind of flowered that entire song?
Didn't you say you wrote that drunk 3 years ago?
I wrote that at Beck's house, drunk on the couch. Yeah. And it was like an exercise. I'm really into chromaticism, so it's like, okay, here's this chord I like, maybe I'll arpeggiate it, and then I'll just do this little riff, like play some, and it's kind of demonic sounding, I guess, I don't know, but it's like pretty and demonic. I'm interested in things that are kind of not so much middling feelings as like extreme changes one after the other. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
I get
that's where
I think we
and I was drunk.
You had
I was laying back on the couch, just like.
You had a few demos from it that, but we kind of bumped up the dynamics for it when we just turned him into a punk
I think
song.
that's the whole EP. I think what kind of plagued us in the past and on our first full length was like all the songs are like duh, like they're like this the whole way through, like they're loud and they're fast and they're like there's not a lot of like ups and downs. Maybe there's a song or two that kind of like weave around and are quiet and nice, but mostly like we didn't have a lot of dynamics, which I thought was really important. This band called The Most from Connecticut is crazy, like band with like 7-10 members, I forget, but they just came and played at my old house one time and they just really drilled it in my head. They're like, dynamics is the most important thing like ever, like you get really really quiet, get really loud, and I really think that in the new EP like we're trying to make that come across a little bit more. I think it's been good.
I mean, definitely with the 2 songs that I heard from the EP so far, I heard Power Pop, and what was the name of the other one?
You're Perfect.
Yeah, that was, I mean, the dynamic shift was definitely very noticeable, so I think that was definitely achieved.
Sweet.
Shouts out to Matt Alderwood for helping us produce
Yeah,
that.
Matt
Hell
from Troubled Minds.
The homie.
Yeah.
Super good.
And then, so switching gears a little bit, Craig, your life seems to be quite interesting based off of what I've seen. So you've recently done journalism in Israel and Palestine, and then you also were in Oak Flat as well, which are both kind of politically charged situations.
Sure.
And I was curious, as someone who is active in journalism, who is in these political situations, and who is also a musician, this is a question I've debated a lot, and I've had conversations with my friends before. Like, what do you think, and then it's going to open up to the group as well, is a musician's responsibility to be political or to be socially active?
I don't think there's any responsibility. I think music's kind of a personal thing and what you want to do with it. I think maybe communal responsibility, like you look at punk music or you look at things, there's like things that are trying to achieve, whether it's just like getting larger and larger groups of people to think about things or to feel like discontent with the status quo. I think that's a great thing to go for. Me personally, I found, not in this band, but as I've started to work on my own like more solo music and stuff, like trying to convey these like big ideas. Like I tried to write a song about my experience in Palestine, and it's like I just can't get those into lyrics that I feel like will justify it. You know, I think like maybe a little bit more abstract concepts or a little more artistic stuff is better than trying to just be like da da da. I leave that for like straight up punk music and stuff. You know, but no, I do think it's important. I'm trying to. Yeah, that's a really tough question actually. I do think it's hard. It's hard to get across. I think it's important to be political to a point, but also like it's still got to be fun. Everything about music's got to be fun. So if you're just beating it to that, like, oh, the world sucks and we're all gonna die. I mean, I've been in a band just like that, and I don't think it achieved anything in that sense. You know.
Interesting. And then anybody else have thoughts on the relationship between political activism and music and how they interact?
I think more so. I think it's more pressing for the social responsibility aspect of it. Like just making sure, especially if you're on stage, like that everyone in the crowd is respecting each other. It's pretty important.
I would say so. Yes. And then one thing I'm also curious about, because you guys are all members of multiple bands. I think, is everybody in here multiple bands?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Not Lucy.
But and you guys have lived at many houses that are house venues here in Tempe/Phoenix. So I'm curious, who are some shout-outs? Like, who are some people you see around the community or seen doing some things that you are really like impressed with or proud of? Because I always like to take shine on other local people as well.
Yeah. I mean, definitely Audrey Hartburn. They're playing our EP release show, and they've been friends of ours for like since they started, pretty much. And they just make super kick-ass music. Just probably my favorite local band.
Kenny, his roommate, Kenny.
Shout out
Kenny.
Kenny.
We're on throwing shows for years. People like that are just, they're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it because they love music and they love to like create a space and have shows and stuff. And I think that's really badass. What do you, Marcus?
What bands?
Bands, people.
So Silk Stockings. I'm gonna try and do a band with them. That'll be fun. And James World is like totally. Did you know they just released another song yesterday?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Burn. I think I watched that music video on Instagram. It's pretty dope.
They're kind of like going on to some next level stuff. And we've been buddies with them. We played shows with them years
Yeah,
ago.
I actually toured with Nate from James World in the band Red Tank
Okay.
3 years ago. Yeah, they're phenomenal people, and their music is just so.
I'm really impressed. Yeah. Like, it's an impressed, but you can still really get into it. You know how you can appreciate stuff, but not like, I wouldn't listen to this for fun.
Mhm.
Like, they're really tapping into some good shit.
Mm-hmm.
Their live videos are crazy and stuff. Like
Yeah.
James doing all that stuff.
Mm.
Oh my god, even his solo stuff.
Yeah.
Follow them and follow all them individually because they're all doing crazy shit.
Also, like people
Invest in James dollars.
like James. That's for you, Michael.
I'll take off.
Yeah, like people like Raquel Dennis or
Mhm.
Hannah, our friend, runs Cannibal Collective. Like people that have also really pushed and made an effort to include acts that don't fit the traditional mold of indie rock, punk rock, or like they maybe don't have as much of like a means to like get into shows and get into places. So there's a lot of people that tried to do a lot of different ways that you can respect.
My friend Annalicia, they just started throwing art shows, and they've done a fantastic job so far, I'd say.
Is that what was the group? Was that?
It's
no name?
No, it's not a musical project. It's just more of an art.
Oh, okay. Did they have some sort of?
They have they had an event that Hugh Mongrel played as
Okay.
well, but it was mostly focused on the art around there. I think
Nice.
Yeah, combining
S3 won.
Yeah, combining super cool poetry, art, and music all in one place, or giving artists a place to like sell their art without having to pay a fee to be there or anything like that. That's a really big deal for like visual artists and stuff. That's like stuff that like Hannah taught me, and it's like I think about it a lot more now. Like when I book a show, like who should you ask to play, and what other things could you bring into it to just make it a little bit different, or to include more people and make the community a little tighter.
Speaking of all that stuff, obviously, it's cool to hear people be passionate about friends and things in other groups. So kind of continuing that theme, I wanted to play a little bit of a game. And what the game is I have been going to house shows for a couple of years now, and in that time I have heard some very strange things. And so I've been writing them down, and I haven't done anything with them. But knowing that you guys have all of you guys lived at venue houses?
Yeah.
Okay. So knowing that you guys have kind of an expertise there, I have 6 different quotes that I overheard at shows, and you have to tell me if they were from the Sunroom, from Tobacco Row, or from Big Surf.
Oh gosh.
Okay? So 6 quotes, 3 venues. I'm not going to tell you how many are at each because I don't want to give it away. But here's the first quote, and let me know which venue you think this is from. So it's, I didn't know there were bands playing. I thought it was just a party.
Definitely Sunroom.
That's Big Surf.
You think tobacco? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say Sunroom.
It could be all of them.
Okay, Nick with his confidence was correct. That was at the Sunroom.
That makes sense.
Yes, I assumed it was a very confused. It was a college-aged girl, and she seemed a little taken aback by the sheer volume that came from inside at one point.
Yeah, no, Sunroom, it's like, it's a party outside, and if you don't go inside, it's like, it's just a party.
Yeah, that's true.
As is every house show.
It's just like, wow, they should turn down the...
Oh, your set sounded great from outside. I loved it. It sounded even better out there, actually.
All right, here's another one. Yeah, I bought this trucker's radio at a gas station and turned it into an instrument.
Definitely Tobacco
Sounds
Row,
like some
right?
Big Surf. I don't know.
Oh no.
I'm gonna go Tobacco Row.
I'm gonna say Tobacco too.
Okay, so we got 3 people guessing tobacco, and you're guessing Big Surf?
Who lives at Tobacco? as
Yes, that's true. That is an unfair advantage, but that was at Big Surf.
well?
That was a noise artist that I saw. He had a trucker's radio and was just like screaming into it and then holding it up to the microphone.
Sick.
All right, here's another one. I can't do acid or Molly on their own anymore. I have to do them together, otherwise it's boring.
Was that
sounds
you,
like my
Marcus?
house.
No.
It sounds like
That sounds like.
Tobacco Row.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I'd say Big Surf. That sounds like Ricky.
Just outing a single human.
Well, he said it sounded like
It's
me.
fair. Oh man.
Yeah, but you're here.
Whatever. Ricky's here in spirit.
These are all direct quotes.
He's been Skyped in on my phone. I just haven't taken it out.
I'm gonna say Tobacco as well. Yeah.
Okay, so that one was Big Surf.
Oh, damn
That was
it.
actually Big Surf. I don't know who said that, but I heard that was
Probably
a
Ricky.
conversation.
We love you, Ricky.
All right.
Miss you.
Number 4 is, are those bubbles and condoms? Question mark.
Sunroom. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, Sunroom. Yeah, I'd say Sunroom.
Yeah, let's go with Sunroom on that.
All right.
I'd say
Yeah.
Sunroom's
Oh, wow,
visually
Sunroom's-
complex.
It's the most visually complex. That was actually at Tobacco Row.
Oh.
That was.
You guys use
We
condoms?
never. Oh wait, there was one time we did dish out.
What, use condoms?
There were
Yeah.
they
Oh, yeah,
were
the Planned
condoms
Parenthood
though.
show.
It was at the Snailmate show like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they threw stuff into the audience, and one of them was bubbles, but there was no condom. Somebody just thought there was condoms. Let's see. It's called Big Surf because it's right down the street from Big Surf.
No.
That was one I heard. Where was that?
Wasn't that Big Surf?
It was not at Big Surf.
Wasn't Big Surf.
I'm gonna guess
That
tobacco
makes
again.
sense.
Yeah, I think there's more overlap in tobacco than Sunroom.
Yeah, Tobacco Row.
That was the sunroom.
Oh shit!
Somebody
people are
spreading
getting
some
around.
false information there about
I mean, that is kind of why it's called that. Like, I don't live there anymore, but when we started, it was literally like, we were just like, oh, that's down the street. And
Oh, is that really? So that really
it'll,
is?
like,
Well,
it'll confuse people, and also there's a pool
it
and a
was certainly
skate ramp.
confusing.
Someone-
The skate ramp, I thought, was the origin
Yeah,
there.
it was almost called Pool Ramp, which would have been a
Terrible name. I liked Craig's house. That was my favorite name. But
yeah.
And then it would have been good when you weren't living there, because then everybody would have been confused. Like,
I
who's
know.
Craig?
It'd be
People
funny if
have-
it was just like a different address that was close by. It's like we're going to 714.
That'd be great.
People
Southern.
have gone to Big Surf though. and,
Yeah,
like, the actual
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people have told me before, like, oh, I thought Big Surf was just putting on weird shows.
Yeah,
I
and
was
they were
like,
also like, Sum 41 is playing at your house, guys?
Yeah.
That's insane.
yeah, it goes both ways. All right, last quote was, I don't have $5, but I'll give you 3 blank CDs.
All of them.
That sounds like
That's all of them.
that must. Where is? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Lucy.
Oh man.
What do you think, Lucy? I think I'm gonna say Big Surf
Got one for Big Surf.
because I had a bunch of blank CDs.
I'll say Tobacco Row.
I'm gonna say Big Surf with this one too.
I'll match you with tobacco row.
Tobacco Row is correct. That was a Tobacco Row. Somebody trying to get in, and that was their very convincing pitch.
Did it work?
I think the person just let him in. I don't think they
Yeah, like, keep your CDs, man.
yeah, we don't need 3
We don't need to hear your
CDs.
mixtape, it's fine.
Cool. So then the 2 questions I like to end every interview with are, first off, like, obviously you guys are people who are very dedicated to music and to art in general. And as a music teacher, I'm always curious, what was your music education experience like? How did you learn to make the music that you guys make?
Well, Marcus and our dad had basses lying around the house early on. I think he got-
Talking more about your dad. He's kind of famous. Low-key famous.
Yeah, he did grow up in the 80s scene in LA, in the hair metal scene. He was really good friends with Sammy Hagar. He went to church with Eddie and Alex Van Halen for a while. And he played with Sam Cooke's nephew as his main gig.
Wow.
RB
And what
Grooves.
instrument?
Bass, yeah. And yeah, we had a very musical background through him growing up in Roland Heights, California. And yeah, Marcus got a guitar at age 13. We took
Yeah, I didn't
lessons
play for a few years though.
a few months.
That's
And
crazy.
Marcus essentially taught me all his weird chord shapes that I learned personally. But
Yeah, so the way I learned guitar was I was just really into all these different bands, and then like it was just a big spiral. And I'd learn the songs, and then even when I wasn't good enough to learn them, I'd just look at how they were played, and I was just like, oh, so that's how they did that.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into like what were the big ones, like pop punk, and then I got into weird like Mr. Bungle, and just like I mean, and then you get into Frank Zappa and stuff, and now I can't stand any of that stuff. But you know, like Weezer and stuff, if you just look at how they're written, like an entire album, oh, that's verse, chorus, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You learn song structure, you learn what chords go with what, and then for me personally, I was like, okay, I've learned enough, and I can play well enough because I would learn it even when I couldn't play it. So I can do both now. That I can break those rules,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can say, bye, I'm sick of you. You know, I want to just make music I want to listen to that no one's made before.
It's a cool goal. So what do you think?
I mean, I got a guitar when I was like 12 or something, and like shakily learned how to play it over time. Had a couple lessons here and there, and then eventually kind of built my way up to learning how to play, and then got really into bass. And then and then I started playing with these guys, and
He is.
here I am.
Man, I actually had quite I'd say the traditional music, not like in a lot of different ways. I mean, like I played like, I think I started, the first instrument I really played was like the snare drum in my 5th grade band. Or actually I played the cello in my 4th grade orchestra. And then I played the snare, and then I got a whole drum set, which was so bad that the cymbals would cave in when you hit them. Like they would invert completely, and it was like, oh, this thing sounds so bad. But I was just like, I was pissing my dad off playing that all the time, and playing a lot of Weezer songs and stuff, and doing weird color Arctic Monkeys and like I don't know,
But
like
you won't, like,
cringy
cover the
bands. I was
sweater
just
It's like teenager music.
I was listening to like Avenged Sevenfold and Metallica and like just weird bands.
I don't know.
But then I was also in like, I played saxophone in middle school, and then I played steel drums in high school. So I did all these random things. I went to band camp for a while. That was really weird.
You say for a while, like you were there for like 4 months.
No, it was like 2 weeks every summer. Like 2 weeks every summer up in Flagstaff. But like, I don't know, I was in jazz bands and like reading sheet music, playing drums, stuff that I don't do at all anymore. Like I used to be able to sight read, and now I just like, I can't. And now I'm like shakily learning guitar and being like, I'm just gonna make my own emo band and never look at sheet music again. So yeah.
So here's a question. Teenager music, good or bad?
Like music
When
that
you're
you
a
listened
teenager.
to as a teenager?
Yeah.
Still good.
Or
Still
music
good.
basically
Except
made
for
for
Avenged
teenagers? Like, because we all got into these bands that we can kind of cringe back on.
I still bump From Under the Cork Tree and Take This to Your Grave by Fall Out
Yeah.
Boy.
All right.
ones go.
So I think we're all pro teenage music.
It is its time. I think it comes in waves. Sometimes you're just like, I can't believe I ever listen to that, and then you're like, I really need that right
Yeah.
Yeah, I think teenager music is like really pure.
Yeah.
It's very
I wouldn't go that far.
no. It's just like, these are my feelings. Whereas adults are kind of like, these are my feelings.
now. You actually want to know? Like, what?
Veiled.
Yeah. And then the very last question I always ask everybody is, if you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of musical advice, what would it be?
Stop learning Primus songs.
It's going to ruin everything.
You will never play that 5-string bass.
I feel like I should have stuck with playing piano, you know? Because that would have been just so my notation and like visually seeing the way that like chromatic stuff is laid out would just be so helpful now. And sticking with the actual music notation that I got a little bit of a nerd education on it like that, like 2 weeks every summer, you know? I'd be like, oh, this is so cool, but then I never stuck with it, you know? If I could really write songs and know what I was doing.
Thinking back when I was a kid, there was like an episode of Ned's Declassified where Ned wanted to learn the guitar, and he just wanted to shred. And I think it was like the janitor or something who was just like, just play your scales. And he was just like, that's stupid. I just want to shred. I would have told myself, like, play your scales, learn your scales, and then you could do all the shreddy stuff.
That was the pathway. Awesome. And then you guys obviously have a new EP coming up. Just give us some details about that and any shows, any other stuff you want to kind of promote.
Let's see. We got December 21st at the Rebel Lounge. We're going to put out our EP. It's called Power Pop. 4 songs, 9 minutes long, you know. We'll play other songs too. But
No, we're just going to play 4 songs for 9 minutes and then we're going to call it a night.
We're playing them twice.
Our really good friend Alex from Alex Pasco runs Pacific Nature out in California is going to make tapes for us. We'll have CDs and new shirts and stuff. And Audrey Hartburn, RMA will play. Really stoked for that.
And then they have this Black Friday deal going on. It's probably past by the time this will come out. Where if you buy a ticket, you get another one free. Our show's on that.
Okay.
More importantly, Kevrai is releasing his solo EP.
I mean, I don't know if that's more importantly.
Well, no, I just mean you've been working on it for like over a
Like
year
a long
now.
time.
Yeah.
And then that's December 14th, correct?
December 14th.
Yep.
Tobacco Road.
Oh, man, what else? I don't know. Future's crazy, man. We want to do South by Southwest next year, stuff like that, get on a couple fests, and just see where things go. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we've all been enjoying where things are at. We miss Ricky because he moved back to Lake Havasu,
Yeah.
but he might be here for the release show, so it'll be cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys for sitting down with me today. I appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, Jacob.
Of course.
And that's a wrap.